matters the most, and that we have to take care of ourselves before we start taking care of other people. Also, hashtag be one means that we must be one in order to be successful. So I want to say good morning to everybody who's watching. And I thought that today, what's going on, Kareem and J. Mark Freeman and Big Busy, and everybody on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, feel free to do that. You can also follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. If you go to Instagram and look for the Black Financial Channel, you can find it there. And that's a good place to go if you want daily financial news and commentary from a Black perspective. Is that Ship Tarjazizi? That some of these Instagram names are so crazy. Anyway, so I thought that today would be a good day for me to give you guys some updates on the stimulus package. A lot of you were asking me about that in the chat. And so I thought that, given I'm a financial guy, I thought that I would go ahead and give you some updates on it based on my research. It looks like right now the Republicans and the Democrats are kind of haggling back and forth about the stimulus package. One of the big sticking points is the cost of the package. The Democrats want to spend about $3 trillion. The Republicans want to spend $1 trillion. $1 trillion is too little. $3 trillion is too much. So they're going to be somewhere in the middle, most likely. Right now, you have a huge debasement, what they're calling a debasement of the U.S. dollar. That's probably going to occur for three fundamental reasons. One is government debt is out of control. Two is economic productivity has declined substantially since the virus happened. And then the third is relates to these fiscal stimulus packages being so damn big. Like, so spending is going up, debt levels are massively increasing, and also productivity is dropping. So it's kind of a scary situation. It's kind of a scenario that's I don't know how you get out of this. You're just not. It is what it is. And somebody's asking about reparations. Well, maybe they'll pay it, but I mean, they can afford it. There's no question about whether they can afford it. The question is whether they're going to pay it. So here's some issues I want to throw out there just so you know what's going on. Right now, Trump is actually, it's interesting. You've got the divide between the Democrats and Republicans, but then you've got a divide between the Republicans and Trump. So the Democrats and Republicans are debating over, issues that they care about in their party. So the Democrats, they tend to take care of poor and working class people. The Republicans they take care of businesses and billionaires and stuff like that. So they're sort of talking about things like liability shields for businesses and all that kind of stuff. And then Trump is he wants a payroll tax cut. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to get a payroll tax cut out of this. He says he may not sign a bill that doesn't have a payroll tax cut. I don't believe that. I think he will sign the bill. But in politics, a lot of times it doesn't come down to whether they get results. It comes down to who gets blamed for the lack of results. And that's kind of what they talk about. I saw somebody ask, do you ever sleep? Yeah, I do sleep. I sleep really well. I went to sleep about 9:30 last night. And I woke up. I wake up 7 hours after I go to sleep. So I went to sleep at 9:30. I woke up at 4:30. So I was like, okay, well, let me just get up. The secret, I'm gonna give you all a little secret to extreme productivity. This is a little secret. The secret to extreme productivity is to be efficient with your time. The same way you budget your money, you should budget your time. So the reason it seemed, for people that follow me, it seems like I'm doing a lot all the time. I'm really not. I don't work any harder than most people. It's just I don't waste my time on bullshit. I don't waste my time sitting on the phone with people I don't want to talk to. I don't waste my time doing things that are not going to benefit my family, my business, or my life in some meaningful way. I have about 6 things that matter to me in the world. And if something you want me to do is not on that list of 6, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not participating, right? And you have to do that, because if you try to do everything for everybody all the time, it's like trying to drink the ocean. Like you'll drink until your stomach is full, and then you'll look and you'll feel like you didn't accomplish anything. So I don't know if anybody ever goes through that, where you work your butt off all day long, and the day comes to an end and you're exhausted and you didn't get anything done. You got nothing done. That's what you call trying to do so much that you get nothing done, because you have to clearly define what your objective is. And when you focus that, then you can nail it every time, so that's what happens. When I'm up, I'm productive. When I'm not working, I rest, and that's what it is. I don't waste a lot of time. I don't even turn my phone on the whole day. My phone is off. completely off. I don't answer any calls. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't get on the phone, just sit there and kick it and just do whatever. If I'm going to kick it, I'm going to go kick it with my woman. If I'm going to kick it, I'm going to kick it with my kids. If I kick it, I'm going to kick it with some of my very, very best friends. But I don't have a lot of time to just sit around and BS, right? So time management and efficiency is really important. We actually have a program on that. If you're interested in mentorship or, just I'm really good. I like to study life and how to be successful in life. So I put together a whole curriculum. You can go try it out. It's a program that you can either stay as a member or you can jump in for a month and jump out. It's up to you. But the first month is free, and it's blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. So if you're interested, feel free, blackkeystogreatness.com. All right. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Don't forget, you can follow me on the Instagram at The Real Boyce Watkins if you want to have some intelligent conversations online. So let's keep going. All right. So some other things that they talk about in the stimulus package is they want to provide assistance to schools. I think the Republicans want the schools open so they can get people back to work. The Democrats, I guess, are more leaning in the direction of keeping everything shut down. I think it's partly for safety, but I think a lot of times politicians will use safety as a guise to achieve another agenda. That's just something I just observed. Like, for example, in China just announced, remember, China was having a hard time trying to control Hong Kong. If you go back a year ago, they couldn't control Hong Kong. They had these crowds of millions of, hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions of people in the streets, and they could not control that. Government cannot control that many people mobilized behind one purpose. So when the virus came out, China then said, oh, well, for your safety, we're now banning all gatherings of 2 or more people. So if you have 2 or more people gathered, the police have the right to arrest you for gathering in public, right? So basically, and I think even in private, so basically, you can't tell me that they're not using the virus as a way to, control people. Because remember, Hong Kong has 7.5 million people. I think 20 people died, over the course of maybe a week or two. And they were like, oh my God, 20 people died. So we got to shut everything down, right? Out of 7.5 million people, 20, right? So if they're doing that in China, they're doing that in the U.S. And so I'm not telling you not to believe that stuff is out there. I'm just telling you, I like to go for facts. I like to get information. So I don't watch CNN anymore. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch Fox News. What I do, unless I want to be entertained, right? I go watch things like C-SPAN. I like PBS. I like stuff where the media is not driven by, getting eyeballs on the screen, because the number one way to get eyeballs is fear. Fear, it's proven. There are studies on this. I mentioned to you guys that media understands that fear is the best way to get you to tune in. And when you tune in, you make money, or they make money because they can sell the ad space. So I don't want you to scare me. I want you to inform me. Right? If I'm informed, then I'm empowered. If I'm empowered, I'm less afraid. If you just scare me and say, oh my God, you're going to die, sit still and we'll take care of you. Well, I don't buy into that. That's not how I operate. And I really want you to consider, what freedom really means for you in terms of understanding. Sure, you might do what you're going to do. Of course, everybody wears the mask and all that. I wear my mask. I don't want to, you're not going to go out without a mask on, but don't let them think that your chances of dying are like 40%. They're not even 10%. They're not even 5%. It's not even 1%, because the percentage of the people that have actually died from the virus, 140,000 sounds like a big number when you say it. But in a nation of 330 million people, that's about 1/25 of 1%. So if you take 1% of the country, divide it into 25 little pieces, that's the number of people that have actually died. And most of those people are senior citizens. So, these facts are important. Just arm yourself with facts. Don't let these people just control you and tell you what to do. I just don't think that's the best approach. So anyway, let me keep going and get off my soapbox. Here's some other things. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has mentioned unemployment insurance, retention credits, and liability shields for businesses. Something that he'd like to see. I think that in this stimulus package, they probably want to get the money to businesses that actually need it. Right now, what the big problem was the first time around is that they had businesses that were getting massive checks that weren't even using the money. Big banks that were getting, all this funding that weren't even loaning the money out. Corporations that were getting all this money saying, oh, go hire new employees. Well, a business owner is not going to go hire a bunch of people if they don't think they're going to have any business. So a lot of businesses that didn't need the money were getting it. And I think that's wrong. I think that there was a lot of struggling small businesses, of course, businesses in our community that needed that money. And I hope that they do a better job of getting the money to the places that need it. That unemployment benefit of $600 a week, where they were supplementing state unemployment with a federal check of $600, that's going to drop a lot. That may drop as much as 60-70% to maybe $100 or $200. The argument that the Republicans are making is that if they make it too comfortable to stay home, then nobody will ever want to go back to work. I'm not going to judge that one way or the other, but it is something they're not going to do the second time around. They're not going to do $600 a week. That's a big check, I guess, for them. But then again, though, really, a lot of our economic problems could also be solved if they started taxing billionaires more. Jeff Bezos is worth about 170, $180 billion. Why not tax people like that? Why can't he have 50 billion or 20 billion, right? It would make a big difference for a lot of people. One other thing they're thinking they're going to extend most likely is the moratorium on evictions. There is an issue where because unemployment benefits are going to end soon, and because that $1,200 check is really nothing for the most part, they're going to probably extend the moratorium on evictions. They put that in place during the HEROES Act. The Democrats, of course, put it into the CARES Act. The Republicans are coming to putting together a response to the CARES Act. That response is probably going to include a moratorium on evictions, which I think is good. I think they should also help the landlords too. I have a friend who's a landlord, and she said, now mind you, she wasn't somebody born rich. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She was just a sister that wanted to own property, because I told you guys in the Black Business School, the 3 pillars of wealth are stock market investing, real estate investing, and owning a business. So in order to own her first property, what she did was she said, she thought about all the money she spends going to the hair salon. And she said, yeah, having my hair look good is important, but I don't know if it's more important than me never having control over my life, than me never having real wealth. So what she did was she said, I made a vow to myself that, I'm going to sacrifice so I can actually have something. So what she did was she did her hair. She did her hair at home for a year. And she said, I'm going to save all the money I would have spent on hair, and I'm going to save that up for my down payment on my house. So after she got her first property, then she started going back to the salon. But during that time, she made the sacrifice, and I like that, because that's how people become successful. That's how you succeed. You cannot succeed without sacrifice. If you live every day based on instant gratification, you will not win. I guarantee you. If you're always doing what you want to do right now in the moment, what feels good, they look good, so I'm going to sleep with them. It looks fly, so I'm gonna go spend that money. The money's burning a hole in my pocket, so I'm about to let it go. I don't want to do any work, so I'm gonna take a nap. I want to eat. It tastes good, so I'm gonna eat it. If you live that way, you're going to be fat and unhealthy. Your relationships are gonna be garbage. Maybe you'll have a bunch of babies mamas and a bunch of babies daddies. You're gonna be broke as hell, and you're gonna be miserable. So at some point, you got to ask yourself, where is my sacrifice? Where in my life am I investing something today so I can have more tomorrow? If you can't identify those places where you're making that sacrifice right now, then I don't know how you expect to have a great future, because how in the world can you have a harvest when you plant no seeds? Like, seriously, seriously, think about this. How can you expect to have a harvest when you plant no seeds? And there are people that do that. There are people that plant no seeds and they wonder why they don't have a harvest. Or they plant no seeds and then they get mad because somebody else has a harvest that they don't have, right? Oh, you got lucky. You this, somebody gave that to you. No, some people just bust their ass and just make sacrifices you're not willing to make, and that's why they become successful. So I'm not dissing anybody or telling you to make a different choice. I'm saying that there is cause and effect in the universe, and you can't get around that. You can't violate those laws of the universe, that what you give is usually what you get. Seriously. So anyway, somebody's asking, where did I get this shirt? Actually, we have a t-shirt line. I don't talk about it much, but it's called Woke Black Tees, wokeblacktees.com. So if you go to wokeblacktees.com, you can get a lot of shirts like this. And, if you're interested, if you're an asshole like me, maybe you'll like some of the shirts over there. So it's wokeblacktees.com. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep talking about the stimulus thing. A lot of aid to states. That's a big conversation about the federal government aiding states, because states have lost a lot of revenue as a result of everything shutting down. States were already in trouble to begin with. So now they're really just crashing and burning. And I don't, I'm just curious to see how that plays out, because I think that a lot of states are deliberately shutting down so they can get Joe Biden into the White House. And I'm just wondering if Joe Biden is going to give them back all that money they're going to lose from shutting down businesses unnecessarily, in order to destroy the economy. I believe that that a lot of the push, like, oh my God, you're going to die, don't go outside, you're going to die. I think a lot of that's built around sort of saying, okay, we're going to destroy the crown jewel of the Trump administration, which is the economic performance, so that we can get into the White House. Because I can guarantee you that after Biden's in the White House, a lot of that's going to go away. I just have a strong feeling that all this, danger talk is going to disappear. The same way it disappeared, when they had the Black Lives Matter protests, when Black Lives Matter, which I support Black Lives Matter as a concept, but not as an organization. As a concept, we know Black Lives Matter. I think that's important. As an organization, I've read their website. If you read their website, you'll really see instantly that that's not really in alignment with the B1 philosophy. They're not so pro-family. They're definitely not, in my opinion, very pro-black male in terms of, tradition and all that other stuff. They bring a lot of agendas in there that are almost like they're putting the poison in the Kool-Aid. And if you think about it, if you want to poison somebody, you don't give them poison that tastes like poison, right? If you give them poison that tastes like poison, they're not going to drink it. What you do is you find their favorite drink, right? You find something that's very sweet, something that's delicious, something that they will consume instantly, and then you drop the poison into that, right? So they come to you and they say, Black Lives Matter, do you agree? And you're like, yeah, I agree. Okay, then sign here, join our organization, join our protest, follow us around. So most people don't read the fine print. It's like when Fantasia signed her contract, her recording contract, she just wanted to be a singer. She didn't read the fine print and the details because unfortunately the poor child could not even read. So later on, Fantasia realizes like, oh my God, what did I just agree to? What did I sign on to? Right. So, but there are people who read the fine print. And so there are people who went to the Black Lives Matter website and they saw the whole conversation and they saw the other agenda that was there and said, I support the concept of Black Lives Matter. And as long as you're doing something that makes sense for me and my family, I'm going to support you. But once we sort of finish and you want to take me to the after party, R. Kelly was always singing about the after party, right? So they sing about the after party. Okay, well, next week we're having this other protest that has nothing to do with you. Then you can just get off the bus and say, thank you very much. I appreciate your support, but we're going to move on now because we're not down for that. That's not how we operate, right? So I think at the end of the day, it was really interesting. And, and I'm observant. I observe everything. It was very interesting to me that 1 minute it's like, no, don't go to work because you might die. Don't leave the house because you might die. Everything needs to shut down because you might die. And then the next minute it's like, oh yeah, but everybody should go out and protest and gather in these large crowds where virus is being passed around to everybody. And that's okay. Right. It's like, no, if gathering is bad for me to go to church or to go to work, then it seems like it would be equally bad for me to gather for a Black Lives Matter rally. Right. So I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm saying that you should just make sure you peep the whole game and understand the whole process so you can figure out where you want to fit into all of that. So a lot of states are looking for support out of this next stimulus package, and they need the support. I think they're going to limit what the states can do with the money. Like a lot of states want to probably try to use the money to shore up, their failing pension plans and stuff like that. Like, don't rely on like a state pension to take care of you when you get old. Those pensions are going to go bankrupt. Like the United States government right now, states, federal, etc., is in the middle of what you call the Great Debasement. The Great Debasement is where the value of the dollar and the fiscal strength and responsibility and capability of the federal government and the state governments is pretty much deteriorating right before your eyes. Eventually it's going to trickle up to the federal government, but mostly states and cities, many of them, including Chicago, where I live, and some other places, are pretty much body slammed financially. They're just in such bad shape, it's ridiculous. That's not a good place to get your financial security. The world's going to change. And so right now, the reason the price of gold is at an all-time high is because they're just throwing out all this money, and the dollar is dropping. Risk levels are rising because there's so much economic uncertainty. I think a lot of this could be shored up if we could get away from the political games. If we did what we had to do without making it into a game where we're saying like, okay, we don't care if the whole country burns down. We just want to make sure that our party gets elected. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of doing what's best for the country, doing what's best for the world, doing what's best for the people. And I don't care if that means Biden's in office or Trump is in office. I want the president, whoever that person is, to be successful. If Trump called me tomorrow and said, I can promise you I'm going to deliver at least, $5 trillion or $10 trillion in reparations for Black people, I would at least have the conversation. I wouldn't say, oh, well, I think you're a racist. I think you don't like Black people. I'm not going to talk to you. Well, I know he don't like Black people. I don't think Biden likes Black people. I don't think anybody likes Black people except Black people. And that's okay, because I don't really like other people that much either. I love Black people, but I don't really care about anybody else. I don't really care enough to go and take care of you and your family. You should be doing that, right? So if I don't care enough about you to take care of your family, why should I think you care enough about me to take care of mine? So I don't really care. This whole I'm not going to talk to you because you're racist. That's a mindset for weak people. That's a mindset for insecure people. That's a mindset for people who don't understand the value of a basic idea called self-love, right? If you literally feel that you can't sit down and talk to a person of another ethnicity because you think they don't like you because you're Black, then that means that you're looking for love in all the wrong places. Because what happens is that you start to get comfortable with people who say, well, I like Black people. I like you just fine. I want to be your friend. I think Black is so beautiful. You people are so great, right? And you buy into that. You eat it up, right? You take down the poisonous Kool-Aid. You're drinking the Kool-Aid and you're setting yourself up to be manipulated, because a lot of that is false. A lot of that is a bunch of BS that they're just feeding you to exploit you, to get your money, to get your vote, or to get something from you, maybe to get the athletes out of your community so they can go off and make $1 billion, right? So I'm not looking for love in all the wrong places. I truly do not care if other people like me or not. In fact, I make the assumption that you probably don't like me, and that if you're self-respecting, you probably don't think about me. I have white neighbors, and I don't sit around wondering, I wonder if that neighbor likes me or doesn't like. I have this neighbor who's like this former cop who has an American flag on his front porch, or in front of his house. He drives a big pickup truck. He's always making stuff in the garage. He has lots of tools and stuff. And he looks kind of like he might be a redneck, right? He's got some big combat boots he wears, and he's always out cutting the grass and everything. And I don't, not one time do I sit back and say, I wonder if that white cop hates me because I'm Black. You know what I do? I go outside. I'm working in my yard. He's working in his. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm fine. How are you? And then we go on about taking care of our families. That's it. That's it. There's no hi, my name is Boyce, and I just want to know, do you like me? Because how do you feel about Black people? Because I don't think you like Black. You're a police officer, and I just don't think you like me very much, and that just bothers me. That really hurts my feelings. It makes me kind of sad, right? I'm not doing that. That's not what a man does. You take care of your family, he's taking care of his. I live my life, you live yours. You stay off my grass, I'm gonna stay off yours. Maybe we'll get together and sit on the front porch and we drink a beer. I don't drink beer, but if I did drink beer, I would. I'd be like, okay, I don't really care. I don't care, right? So that's, let me get off that soapbox. I'm sorry, y'all know how I get. But I think these things are relevant. I think that if you can't connect your economic strength and success to your own self-worth, then you don't understand what success looks like. When they measure the cultures that are actually the most successful, they actually said the Nigerian culture is actually the strongest. And a big chunk of that success comes from knowing their self-worth. Like Nigerians, and by the way, shout out to all the Nigerians in the building, because I'm actually 33% Nigerian, in case you want to know. The Nigerian culture has tremendous pride in being Nigerian. They're so proud of being Nigerian that I don't think they really care if you think that it's good or bad that they're Nigerian. They don't really care if you like Nigerian culture or not, because they love their culture so much that what you think doesn't actually matter. So I think that for Black people, success starts with understanding your own self-worth. And I don't think that we get that completely. So last couple pieces on the stimulus package. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, I want to give you a quick reminder. We're doing the Black Stock Market Weekend on the weekend of August 7th. In that weekend, I'm going to go through an 11-step methodology that I use to pick stocks and decide which stocks I want to add to my portfolio. So you're going to learn a lot. It's a 3-day digital conference, so you can attend from anywhere in the world, and it's really, really awesome. So if you're interested, feel free to go to blackstockmarketweekend.com. That's blackstockmarketweekend.com. All right, so the last piece is Senator McConnell, Mitch McConnell, is talking a lot about liability. He wants companies to have liability protection against the virus. That's a big deal. And also, the Republicans want these return to work bonuses so that people will be incentivized to go to work. And also, in conjunction with that, there will be and there should be incentives for employers to hire people. I think that you want, in a way, it's almost like stimulating economic fertility. It's like if you want the men and the women to get together and make babies, right? Then you'll bring them together and maybe you'll do something that's going to make the room romantic and do things to get them to want to be around each other, make love with each other, play some music, put some, maybe have an open bar, right? So everybody can get a little tipsy, right? Because your goal is to bring people together. So basically, economic love is the same way. They're trying to get businesses and consumers and employees to start making economic love again, right? Where they bring them together and they say to the employee, look, we'll give you extra money if you go to work, right? Which is great, which is cool, right? And then they tell the business, oh, we'll give you these extra tax credits if you will hire the employee. So then everybody wants to get together and then you have a system, you have people coming together, and that's what builds economic strength. So the same thing is true with Black people and Black-owned businesses and us supporting our community. The more we come together, the better off we are. The more we're fighting, the more we're divided, the more we fear each other, the worse off we are, right? Because right now the economy is dead because there's so much fear. There's economic fear and there's fear, health-related fear. There's just all kinds of fear. Fear is the enemy of economic progress, right? So fear and fighting, those are a couple of things that destroy economic progress. So if you want your family, for example, to build a strong, prosperous business, try to find ways, maybe even bring a therapist into your life. Like a great investment for your family and for your relationship is a therapist, because a therapist can help you work through your trauma so that you don't allow fear and fighting, which are kind of connected, right? It's all sort of the same measuring stick, right? I fight you because you hurt my feelings, because I'm afraid of rejection, because I was rejected by my dad when I was a baby. And next thing you know, we're getting a divorce, right? Which is going to destroy wealth. Well, having something that actually creates what you might even call a relationship lubricant, if you will, allows you to find a way to come together and work together, which creates prosperity for everybody. That's one of the reasons why I discourage, like I see everything that's happening on the internet. I know a lot of people, I have a lot of friends. And whenever I see two people fighting or a group of people just going at each other, I either try to squash it if I can, or I try not to be involved, because, I don't really see how Black people fighting is ever going to really help the community to win. Right. And a lot of the fighting is based on fear and trauma and emotions and everything else. And I personally, I'm a big fan of the Nation of Islam, because I love the way the Nation of Islam has a protocol to deal with those sorts of conflicts, which is critically important for you to be able to have the unity necessary in accordance with the B1 philosophy, where we must be one to be successful. That there's a process to be able to overcome that and allow everybody to be successful. So that's what I encourage you to do for your relationship, your marriage, whatever the case may be. Look into getting some therapy, because therapists are great to help you figure out how to have conflict and have it be productive. If your family has trauma, maybe get a therapist for your family, right? Because what that'll do is that'll open the door for you to maybe be able to trust each other enough to do business together. And one of the greatest assets in my life is not a financial asset. It's my relationship with my family, particularly my brother. My brother, I used to change his diapers when he was a baby, and he's been my number one business partner up until this day, where he's not only helped me obtain certain levels of prosperity, but there's also trust there. Like, I trust him and I know he's not going to stab me in the back or screw me. And that allows me to really operate in a more open and fully functional way, as opposed to having to look over my shoulder all the time. Right. So just keep that in mind when you think about, everything that happens in your life. It's all connected. Your economic success cannot be put in a vacuum and not be related to your success in your relationships. Those two things are very deeply connected. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I hope that this helps you. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. Follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. Also, next week is the Black Stock Market Weekend. If you want to check it out and you want to participate, go to blackstockmarketweekend.com. That's blackstockmarketweekend.com. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Have a good day. I'll see you guys soon.